Hey everyone, I'm Jay.
And I'm Sean.
And we watched a movie.
Yeah, we did.
We did. It's called An American Pickle. It stars Seth Rogen and Seth Rogen. And Sean, why don't you tell the nice people where we watched it and how to access it?
We watched it on Crave in Canada.
In Canada.
So that is, you have to get Crave plus the HBO Max add-on.
Okay. Very good. So it is streaming on HBO Max if you already have that. Is it worth it?
Yeah, there's a 7-day free trial, so
Oh,
yeah.
no. I said for the movie.
Oh, for the movie? Mm-hmm. Is it worth watching it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. You enjoyed it.
I did.
I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would, only because I'd read just a couple of tepid reviews, because it's been out, I think, a week now, and it was just so hard for us to access. I assumed we couldn't, and then we could. Making Sean jump through a few hoops.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
And paying a few dollars.
Except we couldn't get a thing directly on our smart TV. That was the one hiccup.
Yeah, Sean always takes umbrage at that. Takes it a little personally.
I do.
Okay, so this movie, gosh, it is one of a kind, sort of. Here's the thing you need to know up front. It's a comedy. It is not a sci-fi. So when I tell you that there's an Encino Man factor that you're just going to have to accept, okay? It's not sci-fi. It is not going to try to convince you with science. This is a comedy like Encino Man. So you just have to accept that Seth Rogen's great-grandfather one time fell into a vat of pickles and was brined, was pickled for 100 years, and then woke up from it because he was perfectly preserved.
Yeah, he was fine.
Yeah.
Didn't age a day.
Didn't age a day. It's wonderful. I don't know. I think we've been overpaying for these, like, cryogenically freezing ourselves situations when really just some strongly salted water could have done the trick. Yeah, I don't know. He didn't even come out wrinkly, which I think is the most exciting thing.
No, he was ready to go.
Yeah. Now, I love a pickle. As you know,
I do.
I'm a pickle girl. I grew up in a pickle family. There's almost, if I see a deep fried pickle on a menu,
We're having it.
yeah.
It's delicious.
It's almost certainly coming home with me. So I was predisposed to like this movie, and it does have pickles in it.
Artisanal pickles.
Yeah, artisanal pickles. So here's the thing that I thought was kind of great, and also a little bit underplayed, unspoken in the movie, is that one day, Ben, just like a 30-something-year-old man going about his life in Brooklyn, seems like a pretty solitary fellow, he gets a call from the hospital, and the nice lady says, "Sir, could you please come in and pick up your great-grandfather?" And he's like, "Okay, sure, yeah, I'll take him home, take care of him." The thing about this is that, of course, his great-grandfather, as far as he knows, has been dead for 100 years. This guy is a complete stranger to him. But he just, like, makes room on his sofa for this guy. And he's just gonna, like, adopt him. Adopt his own great-grandfather, who, luckily was pickled at pretty much the exact same age as Ben is now. Very convenient.
I guess.
Yeah, they're just going to be two cool guys in New York City.
I suppose. It doesn't really work.
Hanging out and
exactly
having
that way.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Ben is, he works from home. He's pretty solitary anyways. I don't think we meet any friends of his along the way.
I don't think we do.
He's developing an app, but he's kind of insecure about it and never thinks it's quite ready. An app that will help people in their ethical buying, their ethical purchases. Whereas great-grandpa Herschel was, he aspired to one day work with the pickles in the pickle factory. Up to his death, he was only the rat catcher, the rat killer.
Yeah.
More specifically.
Rat smasher.
Yeah, he seemed to get paid by
the
rat corpse.
Yep.
So, that happens.
He's
good
a
boy,
contractor.
Fudgy. That's a good boy. Good, Fudgy. Fudgy's here. Oh, thank you. So, he was born and raised in the old country, where his highest ambition in life was to one day taste seltzer water. He met a stoic young woman that he pictured growing mildly old with.
Yeah.
Her greatest life's dream was to one day own her own grave, to be rich enough to have a tombstone.
Yeah.
And so they get married and move to America. So the wife is played by Sarah Snook, the lovely Sarah Snook. I call her the funny Emma Stone. She's a beautiful redhead from Australia. I think her screen time maybe totals 5 minutes if you count still photography. Because, as you know, once they get to America, Herschel gets pickled. And so we never see her storyline where, she has their baby and a new generation of little Herschels is born. Because by the time Herschel reappears in 2020, Ben is his only living relative. So it was not a big line, a big family. It's just going to be him and Ben. And the first thing Herschel wants to do is go check out that gravestone that he was luckily able to buy his wife before he... yes, before he didn't pass away, but got brined. And he's so sad because it's like a derelict little plot of land where a highway's been built and it's really not looking good. And he kind of blames Ben, he can't believe, he comes from a time when you would, of course, very much honor your ancestors and mourn their death even if they died centuries before you. And Ben has not been raised like that and does not have those same beliefs anymore. So Herschel is really sad and a little bit mad, and he vows to make good. But he's going to have to raise $250,000 because this is the terrible thing. There's a big billboard erected on the land for Russian vodka, or the Cossacks, as Herschel is.
Herschel's rivals, yes.
Yes. He's got an innate fear and hatred of them.
They did raid his town and destroy it. Which is why they came
on
to
his
America.
wedding day. Yes. So, this sounds like a weird movie, and it is a weird movie. And again, Seth Rogen plays both of these men. This is a two-hander, and Seth Rogen is holding both of them. And I was pleasantly surprised by what he's able to do. He really takes both characters and makes them unique. And you can see it when they're sharing the screen. You can really tell, even though they're family and they share a background, they are two different men from two different times, and you can tell it. He's actually acting. And that's kind of exciting from Seth Rogen. But it is still kind of like a goofy thing. It's maybe not quite as juvenile as the stuff he usually writes, and that's probably because he didn't write this. This one was written by Simon Rich, who adapts it from his own short story called Sellout. And so the comedy is more low-key than anything probably we've seen from Seth Rogen before. But I thought it was really interesting, just because, these two men who share a religion technically, an ethnicity technically, but raised in different times and having different beliefs, you can, they really test each other's notions of family and legacy and duty. I can't believe you didn't comment on it. I said duty. And you just sat there quiet.
Wow.
Letting me have a moment.
Polite.
Thank you. You're too polite sometimes, John.
Apparently.
Or I talk too much. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's your fault, though. So I just thought it was really interesting how they were able to explore this. And, Ben, who has not been able to pull the trigger on this app, you start to wonder, how is he even supporting himself, because he's too insecure to ever really go for it. Whereas Herschel is immediately motivated, and even though he's the immigrant, and come on up, Bronx. Oh my gosh, hi. Hi, sweetie boy. So Herschel is, an immigrant, I guess technically, although he has lived in this country for 100 years, longer than anyone. He has that, like, entrepreneurial spirit. And what a time for a man from 100 years ago to be reborn, because he fits right in with the hipsters.
He does. It's a pretty good match.
Yeah, so he's just got the good old-fashioned chutzpah to get a pickle company going, because he knows pickles. You know, it's in his blood, you might say. He himself is a bit of a pickle, an American pickle.
Yes, he is.
So he's super motivated, and he just goes out and starts doing it. And Ben is kind of jealous, I think. He has a weird reaction to it, and he kind of resents Herschel for just being able to step into the life that clearly Ben has never really felt comfortable in.
Yeah, they have a rivalry. They go back and forth. It escalates.
As it would.
So, yes, I think they can learn something from each other, and they do, over the course of the movie. For better and worse.
Okay, but you liked it.
I did.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good comedy. It was a light comedy. It's an interesting journey, and has a fair number of points that it hits along the way. Yes, so I did think it was a worthwhile watch.
Yes. Well, it's certainly a unique position to be able to explore and discover your roots. And I just feel like I can't even really remember what show we were recently watching where the guy was talking about having FOMO, fear of missing out. But I think for Ben, it's more that he's feeling like his life doesn't quite justify the sacrifices that his ancestors made. And perhaps for a Jewish young man who has grown up in a pretty cushy American life, you know, but he knows all of the things that his family members have had to survive and endure, and then be bold enough to leave so much behind and pursue this new life so that he could grow up in this privileged lifestyle. I think, you know, there's a certain feeling that maybe his life doesn't quite measure up or doesn't quite justify all of those actions. And when you start thinking that maybe your present would disappoint the past, and here is Herschel, the very physical embodiment of that notion. That's kind of powerful stuff. Not many of us have to really physically confront it the way he does, and thank goodness. There's lots of things that we would not want to have to explain to our great-great-grandparents. But there's also a pride there. Like, Herschel is impressed just by how many socks he owns. You know, it's like a lovely thing in some ways, because Herschel makes him feel like he has accomplished things just by having what the average American does. And that is an accomplishment. Like, that is what Herschel moved for.
That's right.
You know, 25 pairs of socks is way beyond what he ever hoped for his family. So it's kind of sweet and touching, I thought. It's surprising for a Seth Rogen movie, but again, not written by Seth Rogen, and in fact, directed by Brandon Trost, who, I'm not sure if it's his first directing gig, but we have known him, Seth Rogen has known him as a cinematographer on a lot of other movies. So going back to Neighbors and the sequel, and The Interview, you know, that really good Seth Rogen movie, that's right. He also did The Disaster Artist. He did Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping, which perhaps explains the little tiny pop-up role by Jorma Taccone, which was like, what, a minute of screen time, maybe, if we're lucky.
Who he even is? Like
the Lonely Planet guy.
Oh, I know who he is, but I don't remember him from this movie at all. Oh, he's the like the app investor.
Guy.
Yeah. Okay.
Sean. He also did the cinematography on the Netflix movie, the Ted Bundy one with Zac Efron. You know, it's like extremely wicked and shockingly evil and vile or something.
Yeah.
And Can You Ever Forgive Me? Which is an Oscar-nominated Melissa McCarthy movie that's actually super, super, super good. It feels like an outlier among his other works. But anyways, this guy has been director of photography on many, many movies, and I think this might be his first, feature-length directorial debut. He's done some episodes and stuff, which is a great way to cut your teeth. And I just think it is difficult, obviously, to handle the same actor on the screen, playing two different characters, and it feels pretty seamless that way.
It does.
So that's, a very bold first film to make, and I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, and I think it's a departure a bit for Seth Rogen, one that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, so maybe he shouldn't be writing as much stuff.
Yes. Well, I think that's true of Melissa McCarthy, too. I think she does her best work for other people. And, so does Adam Sandler, so do a lot of people.
That's true, yeah.
A lot of comedians, especially, seem to shoehorn themselves, and they don't think as highly of themselves or their capabilities as other people do.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That must be what's happening.
It seems to be a pattern.
What happens with Ben.
There you go, eh? All right, well, we both liked it, and we're glad we liked it. It was a bit of a difficulty trying to get it. I'm sure our ancestors would be proud.
Yeah, I think they would, with our ingenuity and our perseverance. We watched a movie.
Yes. Well, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Bye.
Bye.